Welcome everybody. It is Business Monday. We're on Small Biz. It is a beautiful day in downtown Providence on this Monday morning. With me is Christine Smith.
Hello.
Maybe the best title, Director of Innovation for Commerce RI. Do you get to pick your own title?
A little bit. A little bit.
Is there a lot of pressure being the Director of Innovation? It's like every day, the bar gets higher and higher.
It does, but I get to work with the best people, the brightest people, people who are pushing the limits every day, so it's all worthwhile.
Excellent. You've got a big event. Let's start there. A big event.
Yep.
You've got functionally the entire federal government coming to Rhode Island for an SBIR event, really talking about what the federal government has in funding for innovation across a plethora of different resources. Talk a little bit about it.
Yep. So what I wanted to do first is deconstruct for the people who don't know what SBIR is, because it's like government, it's alphabet soup. So SBIR stands for Small Business Innovation Research. And these are grants. And these are grants that are administered by the Federal Small Business Administration. Everyone thinks of SBA as doing disaster relief, loans.
Right.
But they also have a program that funds these innovative, breakthrough, exciting new products. And that's what this is all about. So as you said, we do have a road tour. We have 25 officials, 20 program officers, some people from the U.S. Patent Office, from the SBA themselves, and they're literally on the road in a bus, and they go around the country, and they come to places like Providence in Rhode Island, and they talk about their programs. So this is outreach, and it's just all about making people aware of this great source of funding. And we're super excited that they're here in Rhode Island, because Rhode Island really believes in these grants, and our state provides matching funds. So you get a federal grant, you qualify for a state grant on top of that, just so we can be sure that your product really does get out in the market.
And how big, just give a ballpark, what are the range of grants that are given out? I mean, are these $500 grants or $500,000 grants?
A little bit in between.
Yeah.
So the grants range from around $100,000 and they go up to over $1 million. And the federal government sees themselves as an investor. So like many investors, they do their funding in stages.
Right. So
in a stage 1 grant, it's all about proof of concept. If you have an interesting product, you'll get somewhere around $100,000 to $150,000 to do your proof of concept. If you're successful, then you can move on into phase 2. And those grants, depending on the agency, especially Department of Defense grants, can go over $1 million. And the state matching grants are based on a percentage of those federal grants. So if you get a phase 1 from the federal government, you can get 30% of your grant up to $45,000. Phase 2, you can get 10% of your grant up to $100,000.
great.
And those, again, are grants.
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 And no equity position, no nothing. It's just meet the criterion, do what you promised to do. And
exactly. And we have this program because it is very competitive on the federal level. And so this is a validation of sorts. And so we want to make our companies successful. And they do call it, we were talking a little bit, this is America's largest seed fund.
Right.
So it really does get back to the investing, and investing in quality, high potential, really exciting breakthrough products.
That's great. And talk a little bit about the agenda of the day, and also I'm going to put the caveat on that it is now sold out.
It is
officially sold out.
Yes, it is.
And we just agreed, GoLocal just a little bit ago agreed that we'll come over in the morning and do this on Facebook Live on the sort of the key hour of it from 9 to 10. So people will be able to watch the key speakers give presentations and allow people some of the information and access into the application process. So that'll be on Wednesday morning. It's down at the Crown Plaza down in Warwick. How many people are expected down there?
We have 150 people
150.
will be there, including our friends from the federal government. But to your point about the agenda, so the morning part of the program is totally done by the SBA. And so what they do is they have a good chunk of time. These 20 program officers are going to come forward. They're from up to 11 federal agencies, everyone from the National Institute of Health to Department of Defense to Department of Transportation, USDA, a whole broad variety of federal agencies interested in, again, a broad variety of topics. They're going to talk about their funding priorities. That's what they're looking to fund, what they want to fund, what they need to fund. There will be someone there from the Patent Office talking about intellectual property. There'll be some others from the federal government. And then in the afternoon, we flip over to more of a local panel. We're going to have 3 of our companies here in Rhode Island who have won SBI awards talking about their experiences.
Who are those?
So we have Claire King from Propel. We have someone who was just here on Go Local with You, Neil Fine from Aquinas.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then Kelly Mandel from McAllen, Aquidneck Island.
Great. And a lot of it is tied to manufacturing and defense industry, or does it get more varied than that?
It's completely across the board. So we have a lot in the Department of Defense, something like sonar assemblies, radar, components in submarines, but Claire runs a textile company, and she's coming up with smarter textiles for soldiers' uniforms.
That's great.
And Neil, of course, was funded by the Department of Energy, and he's doing the device that will increase the efficiency of wind turbine blades.
Right.
So it really is across the board. But what they all have in common is they really are transformative, breakthrough technologies and products. And also, the good thing about the Department of Defense is it's a grant, but it's also a contract. And so if you're successful in developing the product that's funded by the Department of Defense, they become your purchaser. And so that's
great.
Sole source.
That's great. Talk a little bit about innovation in Rhode Island. You know, I think we're seeing a transformation literally by the second in the American economy across the board. We're seeing retail somewhat contract, collapse, whatever the term of art you want to use.
Evolve.
Evolve. You see bird scooters popping up on the streets without notice. We're in this really rapid period of time of tremendous change. How is Commerce dealing with this, and what are some of the other programs that you're working on?
Sure. So I've been at Commerce for 12 years now, and I've always had the benefit of working with people here. So, there's a lot going on, but I really want to stress people out in our community have been working on innovative products, for a long time. But right now, the difference is, we have programs that can help them. This SBIR matching grant program is only a few years old. And until just 3 years ago, we didn't have the funding to be able to offer those Phase 2 awards. And so we're able to do more for our companies and support them more because they really are out there. You mentioned Neil Fine at Aquinas. Neil also took advantage of something called our voucher program, where if you're in a company and you have a gap, in Neil's case, he needed some expertise that was available in modeling and measurement that was at Brown University. And like Neil, you find a university partner. We have partners at New England Tech, URI, Brown, RISD. You find a partner at a university, you can apply to Commerce, and we can give you a grant, again, up to $50,000 to go out and access that talent. And new, we also have grant similar. If you're a manufacturer, not only do you have to, or you don't have to only go out and find a partner at a university. If you have R&D you're doing in-house, you can apply for that funding just for your own internal R&D. So like I said, we're doing more, I think, to support all the wonderful work that's already been going on for years in our community.
What's some of the challenges? There's some money. There's a toolkit now that there wasn't.
Yeah.
But what are some of the other challenges?
The biggest challenge is making sure everyone knows about these resources. And so, because as you mentioned, for a long time, we weren't helping our companies, and now that we have these tools, we want to get the word out. And the best word of mouth comes from our recipients. They talk about it to other companies they know.
I think that's a huge factor. This is a small business state. People don't understand how different Rhode Island is from many states around the country. We've had a Go Local out in Portland, Oregon. Oregon is a big company state, big lumber companies, Intel, Nike, big companies that are in the 20,000 employee range. In Rhode Island, there's 40,000 small businesses. And even what we consider as being large businesses here are really actually ranked by the federal government as small businesses because it's really anything under 500.
Right.
We think a company that has 100 employees is a big employer in Rhode Island, and in actuality, it's a tiny little company in the national perspective.
And most of the companies I work with, most of the recipients that are working in these voucher and
2,
these
3,
SB
5, yeah.
to be above 10
Right.
is to be an outlier.
Right. And just to go to the challenges, reaching people, you know, are we seeing this? We're now in a good economy right now, nationally, and in Rhode Island, across New England. Obviously, Boston's economy is, you know, a machine right now. Is the lack of work? You know, I think people are fighting for workers right now. Low unemployment, higher educated, very difficult to recruit. Is that becoming a factor? And I know there's lots of job training programs, et cetera. I don't want to necessarily get into that, but are you seeing that as a burden to some of these smaller companies who are trying to grow?
I think frankly, I think it's a burden anywhere, because if you're a talented engineer or you have a skill that's in high demand, you really can go anywhere.
Right.
And I know another program that sort of falls within my portfolio, you've had our Wavemaker director, Jill Butler, on. So
the most frenetic guest. We've had 1,600 guests on GoLocal. She has to be in the top 1% of high energy.
Super high energy,
oh my
which
God.
is why she does so well in what she does. And what we're talking about is a program that provides
forget solar, forget wind. Put her on that little squirrel wheel, and it will power all of Rhode Island.
But it's tax credits for student loan debt.
Right.
So if you're working in Rhode Island and you're in a STEM or design field, we can offer you the chance to apply to get some tax credits, which you can cash in. You don't have to take the tax credit. You can take cash on the dollar. And what we're really trying to do is give all this talent that's highly mobile an extra reason to be here in Rhode Island. And actually, most of our recipients love being here, and it just makes it a little bit easier for them to stay here. And they get rid of their student loan debt, and they can buy a house, start their own business. We have a couple of wave makers who have that in their dreams, so we're happy with that.
We were a partner in bringing the blockchain summit into Rhode Island, and you guys were intimately involved in it, and obviously that's a breakthrough sphere in both business and technology. One of the things that they're always looking for is talent. Rhode Island, Providence DMA is the second worst at retaining the talented young kids that come out of our colleges and university. About 70% of all grads leave the marketplace. Wave Makers is one of the strategies. How else can we make this a better place? So if you're graduating out of engineering at URI or out of computer science at Brown University, that this becomes the cool place to live, rather than the great place to go to college and then go to New York or Boston or Chicago or Nashville.
By helping these, you know, really trying to help companies who have ideas, actually put it into a product that they can sell, and they can create those jobs here. So I think that's, you know, that's part of our strategy in all the vouchers, the SBIRs, just helping people who have these great ideas turn those ideas into commercial products. And those commercial products then become companies.
If folks obviously cannot attend the SBIR event, and they get to see a little bit of it on Facebook Live, and they're interested in learning more, what's the way for them to be able to reach out to Commerce and get more information about this?
They can just go onto our Commerce website or call our office, 278-9100. They can ask for me or for Kalina Harrington, who works with me on these programs, or Jill Butler. And any one of us can give you the specifics. Also, if you're ever out at an event and you meet another Commerce colleague, anyone can bring you in and get you to the right place so we can talk more about your needs.
That's great. Want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You still have the best title going. After this, Stefan's probably going to steal it from you, all right? Or he'll add it to his, what is he? Generalissimo.
He's Secretary of Commerce.
Secretary. I knew it was some grandiose title over there.
It's better than director.
It's better than director, right? I want to thank everybody. We're going to be right back in a minute talking about goat's milk, and I'm not exactly sure why, but we will be right back. Christine, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Josh Fenton. It is Business Monday. We're talking small biz. With me is a woman of great fame and fortune. She's been on the Steve Harvey Show. She's been this, that, and everything else. It is Rachel. It is the Rachel from Rachel's Goat Milk Soap. I personally have never enjoyed goat milk soap. Talk a little bit about where goat milk soap comes from and how you came up with the idea.
Well, when I was 7, I got my first goat, and 2 years later,
Was it a Christmas present?
It was a birthday present. I really wanted a goat, and my older sister got me a goat, and it was a dairy goat, and we found out you couldn't just have one, so we started getting more and more, and we became obsessed with them. And by the time I was 9, we had bred them, and they were producing milk. And Nubian dairy goats produce about a gallon of milk a day.
A gallon of milk a day?
And we had about 10 goats in milk.
God.
So we had 10 gallons of milk a day that we had no idea what to do with. So I started researching it, and I found goat milk soap. And it started off just like a fun hobby.
Wait. Just slow down for 1 second. You're how old and you start researching? This is why the internet is dangerous. First of all, she found out about goat milk. Second of all, she starts researching, how so?
I'm 16 now. I started when I was 9. I started researching what you can do with goat milk, and I found goat milk soap. And I learned how to make it from YouTube.
Oh my God.
And I gave it away as gifts to like my teachers and my friends' families for Christmas, and they came back and they said they really loved it. So I started a business on it, and I started selling it at the Situate Farmers Market when I was 9.
So this is where we put the little superimposed warning, do not do this at home, leave to professionals. So you're 9 years old and you have, you're producing 8 to 10 gallons of goat milk per day.
Yep, I was hand milking.
At age 9, I was working on coloring between the lines and struggling with it, but let's keep going. And you start producing soap, handing it out, selling it in Situate, Rhode Island. And where does it go from there?
People really loved it because goat milk has so many benefits to it. So people really loved it, and they kept on coming back saying it helped like their eczema and the rosacea and acne and different things like that. So I really researched it and figured out what type of oils to put in it. I made my products all natural, and I started branching out more. Now I have a couple different products. This is the soap, and then I also have washcloths. I make lotion, lip balms. There's all sorts of products that you can look at online.
Do you sell exclusively online?
No, I have it in different stores all around Rhode Island and Connecticut, but mostly online. Online's the best way to get it.
And what's the website's name?
TravisFamilyFarm.com.
TravisFamilyFarm.com.
Yes.
And do you still have 8 to 10 goats, or do you have more?
I only have 11 goats right now. We had up to 30 goats at one point. We downsized a lot.
So there were layoffs of the goats?
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to have that many goats on only 3 acres of land. So.
And are you still in school, or have you quit school and made this a full-time?
Well, I'm homeschooled, so I do both.
Excellent. And what's next for the company?
I really want to branch out more, maybe get into a bigger facility, start hiring people, because right now it's just me, my mom, and my sister that do the business. But we really want to branch out and make it global. So.
Nice. And are you going to go to college?
Yes, I plan on it. I want to go to Babson.
Nice.
College.
Big entrepreneurial college.
Yep.
The danger Babson. She'll take over the place, and she'll have goats everywhere.
Yes.
You've gotten some local press, and then you've gotten some national press. You were on the Steve Harvey Show. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, I was on the Steve Harvey Show when I was 12.
And they just called you up one day and said,
yeah,
hey,
somebody must have written in about us, and they called us up, the producer, and they asked us if we'd want to go out to Chicago and be on the show. So
did you take a goat with you?
No, I did not. But there was a goat on the show that I did milk, and I showed him how to milk. So.
Did they rent a goat for you?
Yes, they did.
They rented a goat on the Steve Harvey Show.
Yep.
Steve Harvey Show is a national show. It's syndicated. It's wildly profitable. We don't have the budget here at GoLocal. But I did say to Rachel, we have had goats here before. We've had penguins. We've had one of the puppies who was in the puppy bowl. So we've had some VIP animals and penguins. Penguins, animals, I guess so.
Yeah.
Can you keep us up to date on the next product launch, on what you're going to do next, and all those types of things?
Well, right now we're working on repackaging. These are new packages for the soap that we just recently launched, and we're doing new packagings for our lotions and our lip balms too. And in our 5-year plan, we want to become a legal dairy and start selling goat milk fudges and caramels and the actual goat milk. So that's in our 5-year plan.
This is big. This is big. You worked with the state, with
Yes,
Commerce?
yes.
And how was that?
That was amazing. Commerce Rhode Island and CWE, they're amazing programs, and they do so much for the community. And we got a loan from them, so that helped a lot on our production side. We got to order oils in bulk and order all new machinery, so everything got to stay the same price as far as our products.
That's great.
Because oil prices have tripled in price, so we got to keep our products the same price, and that was nice.
Have you met Stephen Pryor, the head of Commerce?
I have not.
You have not.
No.
Did they, as a part of the agreement that you signed with them for the loan, did they require you to name one of the goats after Stephen Pryor?
They didn't.
Okay,
but
good.
I will next time I have a baby goat born.
That's great. I want to thank you so much for coming on. Congratulations on all the success. We're going to be right back. I want to thank Rachel. We're going to be right back in 1 second to hear more about the program over at Commerce. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Josh Fenton. This is Doris Blanchard from Commerce. We just had Rachel on, Rachel Travis from Rachel's Goat Milk Soap. I know more now about goat milk soap than I had ever known at any other time in my life. How did they come to work with Commerce, and how did the program help them?
Sure. So, yeah, she is phenomenal. So Rachel, she came to Commerce directly to me through a conversation. It was we met in an event, and she was seeking for access to capital for one of her machines.
So let me ask you, how often do, she's 16 now, so she was probably 14 or 15.
Yeah.
So how often do 14-year-olds approach you asking for capital?
Not many, not many. But I went, so I got a call and I went to actually visit the farm.
Yeah.
So, you know, I got a tour and I learned about the products and what they were seeking, you know, and then I connect Rachel to the Center for Women in Enterprise. And actually, that was the organization that provide them with that technical assistance, so she can, learn about the business, more about the business, identify the needs, and then they provide them with the loan that they needed.
So is this a complex business transaction? Did it have to be countersigned not only by Rachel being 14 or 15, but all the baby goats? Did the baby goats have to co-sign on this?
No, well, actually, they took a class. They took the business planning class at CWE with a mother, with Lily.
Yeah.
So they can learn more about, what other areas they needed to improve in the business. So with that proposal, they went back to CWE to access the loan, for the micro loan actually was.
And at projects like this, we've had a number of folks who've received different levels of funding. Anybody's from bookstores to art galleries to technology companies. Here's a very, very unique, and obviously with her, you could see her on a show like Shark Tank. I mean, she's so poised and confident and has a business model and things like this. How do you get them from point A, this early nurturing stage? You've lent them some money. How do we get them as a state to that national level that they're playing at a much bigger place, and ultimately at some point building either the marketing around their website or getting them more distribution in higher levels of retail?
Sure. So we provide them, and I work in client services, so that was kind of like my first 2 years at Commerce, where that was my role, to go and meet clients and identify what resources were best for them. So each business is different. They have different unique needs. And one of the things that we saw right away is that they wanted to grow. They already had a business at home, but they wanted to grow, and they wanted to better position their products. You saw the products, the soaps and the lotions and all that. And she was doing it more organically, but we wanted to provide them with the right resources for her to go and start, a whole strategy. I think she mentioned about the 5-year, and actually that's what she learned, by taking the business planning class. And she was prepared to, the access to capital would allow her to buy the machine that she needed.
And if I'm sitting, at my computer at my boring job in my office, but I have this spirit of entrepreneurialism and I'm looking to take some idea I've been thinking about, how do I get in touch with you folks and I want to break out and launch my own company? How do they contact you?
Sure. So they can contact commercearray.com, or they can call the hotline. And you will be, right away, you will be talking with somebody there at Commerce.
Great.
And they will immediately set up an appointment for you. Great. And then talk about your idea. What stage? We need to identify, where are you in your business? Is it just an idea? Is something that you already conceived, you're working on your business plan? Or you are kind of like, I'm ready. I know what it's all about to become an entrepreneur, but I need access to capital. So that's the Small Business Assistance Program. That is the main goal for those entrepreneurs that otherwise will not obtain a loan by going to a bank, because you are a startup. So they really don't believe in you right now.
Listen, we've had so many companies that have worked with you guys that said, and I was this and that, and I went to my bank and they said no.
They say no, because they don't want to take the risk, right? But this is that was the main goal, why we have this Small Business Assistance Program in place. We have closed so far 63 loans.
Oh, that's great.
From different, ranges, from retail, manufacturing, agriculture, restaurants, and they have their own needs. And that's why this program has been very, very successful.
Well, Doris, thank you so much for coming on. Congratulations on taking a chance with Rachel and her baby goats. And that one does smell of winter. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the small business section. I'll be back at 4 o'clock with Gary Sass talking about everything that's going on in Rhode Island business. Thanks, everybody. See you back at 4.